Hi, I'm Quinn and I'm autistic. Welcome to Autistic. So, it's upon us. The time of year that most openly autistic people dread, particularly those of us who are active on social media. It's Autism Charity Fundraising Month, or Awareness Month, or even Acceptance Month if the organisation concerned has been paying attention to the zeitgeist. Whilst there's a lot of good intentions on display during this time, it's also a period that sees more bullying of autistic people than any other. The work we do as autistic creators and advocates doesn't rest for 11 months of the year. We're working tirelessly all year round, but for the month that the media interest is there, it brings all the autism trolls and misguided but well-meaning keyboard warriors out of the woodwork. The voices of any autist capable of advocating for themselves, let alone for others, get drowned out by seasonal autism experts claiming concern for severe autism. Many of the topics that I'm going to touch on today have been covered in more detail in previous Autistic videos, and if you want to know more, you'll find most of them included in the Autistic Primer playlist, which I'll link in the description and on screen now. Arguments often start over language. We say something about being autistic, and a well-intentioned bystander will correct us, telling us we should say with autism, person first language. We'll point out that the majority of us prefer to be called autistic and provide evidence to that effect, and plenty of people respond well. They might point out that they've been told to say person with autism as part of academic study or professional qualification, or a diversity training course at their workplace, but the penny eventually drops and they back off. What starts as conflict can often be a turning point in that person's understanding, opening their hearts and minds to the realities of being autistic, the daily struggles we all face, and the important role of our autistic differences in shaping who we are. I've made friends and gained social media followers through exactly such conversations. Even a few of the patrons who helped make this channel possible started out as someone who corrected me, but found out they were the one who was mistaken. Sometimes it goes badly though. Some people aren't happy about being corrected. In fact, some of them rage at our insolence. Who do we think we are to have opinions on autism? They're the ones who cast doubt on us being autistic in the first place, or claim that we're the wrong kind of autistic to have an opinion. We may be allowed to talk about our own little high-functioning corner, but not about the severely afflicted people they claim to have concern for. But what exactly is severe autism? What does it look like? Well, the first thing to know is that it's not a description that's come from the diagnostic manuals. The same applies to high and low functioning labels. They're not formal diagnostic terms, nor reflective of our lives. Let's look at a few examples of what those armchair experts describe as severe or low-functioning autism.
What about the severe autistics? My brother is 25 and has the brains of a 5-year-old.
IQ is one of their favourites, along with the inaccurate but often cited majority of autistic people having intellectual or complex learning disabilities. Only about 15% of diagnosed autistic people have any kind of intellectual disability, and many of those are borderline or issued as default because being unwilling or unable to complete IQ tests is often regarded as a de facto fail. Even so, that doesn't make someone more autistic, it just makes them autistic and intellectually disabled. Tragically, there's a significant lobby within some academic circles fueled by the billion-dollar autism intervention industry to make autistic with low IQ a whole new category of its own they want us to call profound autism.
He has seizures every day and he wets the bed.
Seizures get brought up a lot too. Whilst it's not common, there's a slightly higher chance of an autistic person being epileptic. That makes them autistic and epileptic, not severely autistic. They'll mention incontinence frequently. That's a non-starter too. And enough of a red herring, I did a whole video on the subject.
And he's never spoken a word either.
Speech is the big one though. An autist who doesn't speak, who speaks in echolalia or apparent riddles, uses a limited vocabulary or who only uses speech some of the time, they must be severe, surely. The reasons for an autist not speaking are many and varied. Some of us are afraid to speak because when we've tried, we've not been understood. Some lack confidence and some don't see the point unless we're in significant need. Some of us need time to process our answers, so may choose not to speak until we're sure of what we want to say, which may be only a few words. I've met autists who are highly eloquent with written words, but never or rarely speak with their mouths, and many who are unable to use mouth speech because of additional disabilities such as apraxia. The label of severe autism actually creates barriers to communication in itself, because it lowers expectations and has even prevented communication because alternatives haven't been provided by someone in charge who's decided there's no point. So what about the behaviours we do associate with autism? The ones we see bullet point lists of on medical websites or news stories about autistic kids. What about meltdowns, shutdowns, elopement and self-injury? If that's not severe, what is? They're mainly stress events. Meltdowns and shutdowns are directly related to stress. Both are involuntary reactions to distress beyond our ability to cope. It can even be stress that's built up over time and we've just been tipped over the edge. Self-injury can be related to the same, or a side effect of another co-occurring condition, dyspraxia. Elopement can be a sensory issue, getting away from sensory stressors or seeking sensory stimulation, or it may be related to a specific monotropic interest. In many cases, it's literally running away from pain.
Aha! So it is because they're autistic then?
No, you're still missing the point. Granted, if they weren't autistic, they may not abscond so readily. But why are you blaming the autism and not the stress that causes the behaviour you're concerned about? Have you never heard of an NT kid that ran away from home or got caught somewhere they shouldn't have been? If an autist leaves unexpectedly because they've been put under duress, who in their right minds would blame them? Is there something inhuman about avoiding unnecessary pain or aggravation? You may not be able to register what's causing the stress or pain, but it's there for them all the same. If I were to call you a de bloch or a patach, you'll probably frown at me and wonder what the hell I'm on about. But if you spoke Klingon, you'd probably be offended. If you're not autistic yourself, you don't know what might be causing our discomfort or might be attracting our attention because your mind doesn't speak the same language of thought as ours. You might as well be trying to read Shakespeare in its original Klingon for all the sense it will make to most non-autistic minds. Give us the opportunity and the tools to communicate it to you though, and you might find out. But you might also have to be patient and learn a new kind of language. What most people describe as severe autism is just autism with complications, and sometimes those complications are things that most people can't quite get their heads around. Remember the autistic triad I keep mentioning in these videos? Senses, emotions and veracity are the key things that should be at the front of your mind when you try to understand autism. Whatever the unidentified factor is that makes you think severe is either a secondary condition like epilepsy or a learning disability, or it's something you don't understand yet. You may think I'm an okay communicator on the whole, but I went through decades of depression before I was able to get it across to a doctor. I was punished as a child over my fussy eating habits and for making myself sick all the time. My dentist used to berate my mother for letting me eat sweets all the time, which she denied, and then punish me again for scoffing candy behind her back. It wasn't till my 30s that I managed to explain myself well enough that a doctor sent me for tests that showed my stomach doesn't empty properly, and tissue erosion consistent with having had acid reflux all my life. It messed up my ability to eat, influenced what foods I chose, and the constant flow of stomach acid going the wrong way had eaten away at my teeth. However hard we try and whatever communication method we use, sometimes autistic and non-autistic minds just can't seem to transfer information to each other effectively. A non-autistic mind may never fully grasp one like mine, and I know there's aspects of the NT mind that baffle most of us too. We have to take your word for it that those things are normal for NTs because there's more of you and you say so. Right now, there's someone out there with their hands poised over the keyboard ready to type out their comment. That's all right for you, mate. You're high functioning, so you don't know. I'll save them the bother and reply to them now. You're right, and you're wrong. I do manage to function in society in a way many autists don't. I have a job, I'm happily married, I do this. I get by. I have days where I struggle though. Days that rarely get seen by another soul. Days when I'm not at my best and nobody makes much sense. And all the voices blend into one. The noise keeps getting noisier and that light keeps buzzing and dazzling me, and my collar's too tight, and oh my God, I'm feeling dizzy, and my voice is raising, I'm shaking, and I always forget the next few minutes after that. If you call me high functioning, it's because I'm autistic, but I don't have something else complicating it. Not something you can see. If some people have their way, then a few points less on my IQ scores might let them call me profoundly autistic. If I'd hidden in the woods more times in childhood, or suffered more unbearable sensory stress, or maybe if I preferred to speak with an AAC machine, or in writing or in Makaton, would you have me down as severe? High and low functioning labels don't help autistic people, and those of us written off as severe could live much better lives if our co-occurring conditions are properly treated or accommodated and our communication understood. There is no mild and severe end of the autism spectrum, no profound autism, and certainly no high and low functioning. Take away any additional disadvantages and disabilities. Take away the stress brought on by a world that can be an overwhelming mass of too much information. Take away the misunderstandings, the miscommunication, the miscarriages of justice, the unfair disadvantages, the pity, the sideways glances, the jokes and the jibes, and the flawed assumptions over our feelings, desires, intentions and competence. Take all that away, and all you've got left is a person with an autistic mind, who senses differently, feels differently, and has a very strong need to be honest with the world. Thank you for watching. New Autismatic content now comes out on Fridays, and I need your likes, shares, comments and subscriptions to make sure more people get to see it. You can be an active part of things by becoming a patron on Patreon, or show your support with exclusively designed clothing and accessories from the Autismatic TeePublic shop. Links to both are in the description.